But before we do that, I'm going to
GNS at 0.287. It was 0.286 as I grab my camera. You can see Rogers. This is Roger Hamilton. You can see Roger Hamilton, right? You can see latest analyst update on GNS. You can see that share price is 0.28. Valuation is 225. Full report here. You can see that. You can see the full report. And immediately I logged in. You can see that. You can see GNS. You can see GNS at 0.287. You can see that. Let me show you. I'm going to touch this now. You can see AHT at 0.915, right? Let me show you. You can see that. 31,000 shares. See that? 31,700 shares. 31,700 shares. This is 0.915. 31,700 shares. You can see GNS.
Yes. And the call is, let's also, if I go back to the parliamentary system, I hear some of these calls.
Can see that? Research just came out on GNS showing that the valuation is $2.25. You can see that? $2.25. You can see that? Valuation is $2.25. As soon as I came in, you can see that? You can see that? The stock has gone to 298. As soon as I logged on, you can see where they did it. They dropped it immediately. You can see that for yourself. You can see that. I have posted a video. I have posted a video about the stock up there. And then after I posted the video, you can see this is the CEO of, you can see the CEO. The CEO, look at the time. Let me show you guys the time. You can see the time. Time now is, this is Californian time. The time here is 10:15. You can see that? 10:15 a.m. on June 27, 2024. You can see that this is Roger Hamilton, and this is his valuation. The valuation of GNS is $2.25. You can see where they have it. You can see that. You can see where they have it. 0.28 cents because of me. You can see that. You can see. So I just logged on. I opened the app at about 10:14 and I actually tweeted about it. Immediately, this stock was at 0.296. As soon as I opened the app, they dropped it instantly to 0.286. And then I also tweeted about it on this after dropping the video that I made yesterday. I tweeted about it on this, and you can see where these two stocks are now. Yesterday, they sold the AHT down, almost down. See, this was 170 yesterday. Let me show you guys. You can see today. You can see that. You can see 200 shares. 200 shares sold into it to drop it from 170 to 160. 160. You can see that. You can see the time. You can see that. You can see as soon as GNS and AHT started going up, they dropped 200 shares on it to drop it from 170 to where it is now. You can see that. Okay. You can see that. Okay. You know, can you imagine? It looked like I wasn't actually recording this. But this GNS was 0.292 when I came in. As soon as I came in, they dropped it to 0. Immediately I came in, they dropped it to 0.29. Quickly, they dropped it to 0.29. To be able to match the zeros on AHT 0.910 and then the zero on lost down Nrde, which is 1.60. And I actually thought I was my recorder was on. I didn't know the recorder wasn't capturing the data. So the recorder started capturing the data right now. You know, so. Yeah, so I posted a couple of things, you know, in response to Roger Hamilton. You can see that latest analyst update on GNS share price is 0.28. You can see that valuation is 0.25. $2.50 is the valuation of the company. And then, so why is the company at 0.28? See that? Why is the company at 0.28? So I'm capturing this. See this? I'm capturing this and I'll download this data and I'll use this in the next video that I'm going to be putting up to it. Can see that? The same thing that is going on AHT. The same reason why Lost Town Motors was driven into bankruptcy by these criminals as they use their privileges to track me. So I'm going to, let me actually do a snip on this right now.
So when it comes to constituency process,
so we'll do a snip on this.
What should be their focus? Lifting people
so we'll do a snip on this.
It is wrong to lift people out of where they belong.
This, see that? We'll do a snip on this that we'll be using in the litigation.
There'll be vulcanizers,
Snip, can see that? This is the snip. This is the snip right here. Can see that?
If you want to help your
see that? This is the snip. I just got that snip.
There are butchers in your area. They have
at the time, we thought the views were the views of the Inspector General of Police, but of course,
can see Nrde 161. Can see that immediately as I grab my phone. Can see that immediately as I grab my phone. 292 GNS 291 just changed to 292. You can see that. And then you can see GNS is at 29. You can see how they brought AHD to be now 0.909. Remember AHD was 0.909 on that video yesterday. You can see that. Remember the video that I just posted? The AHD was 909 there. You can see they just flipped it out. They listen to what I'm saying through this computer right here. So they see what I'm saying, they listen to what I'm saying, and then they quickly keep adjusting. You can see, so you can see immediately. See as I started recording, you can see Starbucks is now 79.17 to match AHD at 907. So the reason why they dropped AHT from 0.909 to 0.907 is to be able to match it to the Starbucks at 79.17. Can see that? So again, I've posted an update to Roger Hamilton right here. You can see him right here. You can see the evaluation of AHT. You can see that. And this criminal, the evaluation of GNS. And these criminals are coordinating, using their inside access, to keep that stock down, which is great, because it has made me to get as much as possible. But, the point is, we will have to hold them accountable in a big way, and they have something coming their way. Okay? They have something coming their way. We'll see what happens in the next coming months. Thank you. You can see that? If you come here because my thing is off, you can see AHT 0.904, GNS 0.294.
Let me take that after this point I want to make about the cars.
See the time? 10:47 a.m. June 27, 2024.
And then I go back and say
AHT 0.904, GNS 0.294.
20 million. Can I have
see that?
20 million and you keep the car? A lot of car dealers will jump at that. Good.
Can see that?
That's the man who supplied the car. Take your car back, give me one. Because it's not mine. I haven't driven it. It's not been numbered. And I go to my constituency with the 120 million. I say, listen, I went in your
can see that for yourself?
A car of 140 million.
I just came back.
I don't think it makes sense to me.
I just came back.
I'm there to represent you. Well, ask them to give me this amount of money. Now, out of the 120 I got back, I'm going to leave 50 million.
So it's possible.
Each family head. Because once you get
see how see that? They quickly varied it. Can see that?
This tell me how you're going to share
to
it.
3.
Come back.
Apparently they see you too.
Come back in by the next morning.
The camera is right there.
Where nobody will be.
That evening.
Camera is right there.
Number 2. This other 50
criminals.
Million, we're going to use 10 million.
Criminals handed over the reins of people's data.
Of our traditional ruler to show we have
criminals, Citadel Securities, Goldman Sachs.
I am going to keep.
It's not even it's not the companies. It's the individuals the criminals that entered these entities and took them over. Companies don't commit crime on their own. It's the individuals that commit crime. So you have criminals take over these companies.
It didn't happen, and it's not going to happen.
and they become
some of the considerations.
a law unto themselves.
Yeah,
Well, we'll expose them as much as we can. They have something coming their way.
You
see that?
The people and the Nigerian church.
To be able to match the Nrde, the 161 to 0.291. Can see that? Initially, they would sell it, you know, when they had access to the shares. And then, when they now can no longer sell it, they now continue to sit on it. You know, they now continue to sit on it and just manipulate, gamify it. You know, and do this stuff. But initially, it was just sell. I would put in bid, they will sell it, till they took all the stuff down, and now that's where we are. Can see? GNS, boom. Can see that? Drop the machines here. Can see that? Well, I'm glad people are buying it from them. Okay? Alright? I'll be buying some leather today. We'll be adding a little more leather today. Okay? Alright, let me go back to work.
And this also reminded me there was one more thing.
The time now is 11.
Had been mentioned to me yesterday that might be useful to go over on the
time now is 11.
So I'm going to share my screen real quick.
See
If anyone's dialed in,
AHT
my screen off.
0.839. You can see GNS
But
0.283. You can see that. And then you can see Nrde, they moved it up from 1.61 to 1.63 to match all three. You can see that. You can see the time 11.07. You can see all three now matched. You can see that. You can see 1.63. You can see that.
Document out to your TLs, and this is
You can see that.
just one or two documents. This can be far more efficient. Is if you click this, the same place you would click to download the native document for Excel.
They just moved. They just changed that. You can see that. They just changed the AHT.
And if you copy that, chat, you'll see.
Can see that? Can see simultaneously. Can see that they just changed the GNS to 28. Can see that? To be able to match the zeros. Can see to be able to match the zeros together.
That link is click on that link to access that document rather than looking up the document. So in a lot of ways it is faster all around to use that link. The main time I would recommend against using the
That
link
was,
is,
remember that all this were not, this started as soon as, once I start looking at the camera, this will start. Once I turn around, you can see where the phone is, and then if you look around, I can, you know, you see that I have stuff all over the place. But once I start looking at the camera, as soon as my eye goes to the camera, they will start manipulating. They will start moving the numbers around.
Issues also on the bill this morning is Business Morning on Sunrise Daily, highlighting the fact that the Naira has weakened.
That's a very good point. Let's go ahead and just visualize this for folks. And I do know that this does work for me because I sometimes accidentally click it. If you click email document, it sort of pops up and has that link in it. And it even has our case name and everything.
Can see GNS back down to 0.278. Can see that? 1111. Can see that? Okay. Pause. I have this now to self-record, and I'm gonna show you guys. You can see the volume. You can see that. You can see AHT is only 32,000 shares. 38,000 shares. Yesterday, they generated 400,000 shares. 400,000 shares as they wanted to get it to 0.87 to as they stock my portfolio, which is the subject of the video that I've posted. You can see today, 38,000 shares. Time now is 11:14. 11:14. You can see the GNS. I don't have to touch that at all. This was 200 before. You can see that. 367 shares now. 367 shares. And you know why? I tried to buy more, I couldn't.
Turkish stripped Nigerians of visa on arrival, e-visa. What does that mean? Details you'll find on the inside pages of the paper today. Asset stories on the front page of the Daily Independent. Rivers crisis, explosion at hotel, ploy to hoist state of emergency, according to Kubara. From Wiki ex-LG chairman may freeze council's accounts, as from the rats. But the lead story of the Daily Independent is Tinubu vows to sustain war against drugs, illicit substances, drug test kits, not for homes, schools, offices, according to Marwa. Details on the inside pages. These are some of the papers we have for you this morning. For my take this morning, first take this morning is on the front page of Nigerian Tribune. It's the Nigerian Tribune's twist to that story that also quotes Federal government. Over 64 million people suffer from drug use disorders. Whether that is a figure that's about Nigeria, actually somewhere at the bottom. Whether that is just for Nigeria or not, I guess we need to see if we find the details.
So I have the video now recording on its own, and I'm going to let it record for a while. After recording for a while, we'll upload it and then we'll continue.
What ticks me here in this story is the fact that these figures are real.
I was going
The question we should be asking ourselves is, what is the reason why people would rather go for these illicit drugs as opposed to getting the right kind of help? I don't believe that it is. I can't imagine that we can say for a fact that we don't know who these drug buyers. I don't know, but I'm just finding it difficult. The reason is really not perfect. These drugs are not cheap. Illicit drugs are not cheap. They are very, very expensive. And not too long ago, we found some information, making the rounds at some vehicle of some official, was used to ferry some loads of these hard drugs on the road, and he had to take other security agencies to arrest that particular vehicle and detain it, and whatever investigation is being carried on now. Yes, we need to see. So the question is, it is not that these people are ghosts, and it is our people that are suffering at the end of this. I don't want to believe that these 64 million people who suffer from drug use disorders are just in Nigeria, as I said. Find the details on the inside pages, but there is a significant number in Nigeria, and the NDLEA has continued to shout that these things are happening up north and in various other parts of the country. And when we talk about drugs, we're not just talking about the ones that are known. There are others that are being evolved by young people whose future we are literally putting at stake. I'm hoping that there will be some answers here and some correct collaboration so that these things can be addressed, these issues can be addressed, and please recognize that the future of Nigeria is very, very important here. From time to time we hear people talk about the fact that we need to protect the young people, we need to prepare them for the future. With this kind of vulnerability, my hopes are very good.
It's a pain I can feel, Ayo. I mean, when you think of how many children or young people are involved in this, they have to, commend those who are taking up this advocacy very seriously. The advocacy and taking it to schools, taking it to where young people are gathered, or where they are as individuals, to say, look, this is not the way to go. This is a pit that you can fall in, and there might be no way out. The use of hard drugs. I do hope that it's something that we see as an emergency, even though we say there are so many emergencies before us. But something, would I say, more of an emergency than others. There are many fires we need to put out. But when it affects the young people, when it affects the future of our country, then we really know that we need to prioritize that. I think there was a paper I saw that was saying that there are about two, this is the Nrde newspaper, very closely related to it. North is home to over 2 million uneducated children, says UNICEF. I mean, what exactly are we preparing for the future if we leave our young children uneducated? If you were to add that to the number of young people all over the country who are out of school, who have no future, because essentially that's what we're doing. We're depriving them of the future, and we're depriving them of the ability to be meaningful citizens who contribute.
I'm typing now. I'm trying to post a tweet. As soon as I started typing it, they dropped AHT. They dropped AHT from 0.90 to 0.892. You can see, you can hear my typing the tweet. The tweet is about to go on now. Time now is 11:20 a.m. and you can check the time that AHT was dropped from 0.90 to 0.892. Exactly the same time. I'm posting a tweet right now to Wall Street Bets.
As much as people invested in the past, we're still where we are. How much more now when we are now having a swelling number or rising number of children who are out of school? It is really a very worrisome situation. Oh yeah, but in addition to as people that worries are over, I think they're not enough. The front page of leadership also reminds us that when that announcement came earlier this year about this Oron report,
which just went in. So give it a few minutes. We'll keep tweeting all day. Putting this information, we are basically sensitizing people to know that we have criminals, that what they call stock market has been taken over by a band of criminals hiding under different companies. That one of them are defendants in the lawsuit that I am filing. And we will go to every length to make sure that everybody that has anything to do with the stock market knows about these criminals. Many of them do know already, but it's going to go around.
Now, what are they tell us? That the civil servants are looking forward to a leaner and more efficient civil service as a result of this merger.
Leaner.
That's, well, in the manner of speaking.
Look, let me tell you what is on the front burner right now. For the present government, before they do anything with those others, they have to have what I said minimum wage. That's they need to. So that has taken a big chunk of the pie. I think we are saying some. The discussions around minimum wage.
It's not everybody in civil service that is involved in negotiation on minimum wage. There's a tripartite committee that is set up. So that's how government works. Instead of committees, do things. If they want to focus on nothing works, nothing will work. Nothing will move forward.
Let us just say that perhaps the spirit is willing.
The body has been willing until as of February, when the SEC had approved it. And so if SEC had approved it, so what's going on? Something that not being, if groups that will be merged are not being to say, well, don't do this, don't do that. So we're not well thought of.
They have come across obstacles that are bigger than them. If for a government that's really real, there's nothing that is bigger than a government that is determined. That's the truth of the matter. All of these things are just just trying to be truthful. Because the truth of the matter is, this is not the first time we have heard this type of thing. When the Oron report was actually conceived and it eventually produced, people thought, oh look, government is, yes, they are right on track, they mean well, they want to do good for the country, etc. Why didn't they, that's when they implemented?
So there you go. This is where we are. Big questions to the government. What is going on with the Oron report? 4 months after that announcement.
So the thing is recording steady now. I see the recording is steady.
We're back in a moment. Stay on with us.
The future belongs to the dreamers, to the doers, to those who are not afraid of the side hustle. It's for those who are ready to turn their passion into something big and to help keep you revitalized and inspired. Top teams with you every step of the way. You are made for more. Find your inspiration. Top Tea, big round bags of diseases emerging and re-emerging. Observe the body respond to the miracle of treatment. Watching requirements of medicine modify and the way we look at health evolve.
You're recording? Yep. Exactly. Getting it.
Keep
Can
pace
see?
with new trends.
Can see AHT. AHT is now down to 0.882. To pay it with GNS at 0.28. Can see that?
Investing in the capital market can be tricky as the numbers move in different directions. Sometimes the bull bellows.
It's no longer about manipulating. Don't forget that in the past, almost the past 1 week, they will manipulate the volume, get it to 600 or 700,000. You know, but now that the story is out there, the videos are coming out. You know, it was we overlooked the videos for a long time, and then we'll be trying to explain the thing, which is difficult for people to understand, because you have criminals who are sophisticated, have every tools to commit a crime, have access to everybody. The people that they don't have direct access to, they bribe them and buy them off. Entire crime boulevard, and so it becomes very difficult to get this thing out there. You know, it becomes very difficult for us to put the story out there. You know, for people to follow, not for the litigation, but for just to sensitize people to know what's going on. And then we've been able to get to that. You can see, as I started talking, AHT drops to 0.875 for the first time today. You can see that? Immediately as I started talking, AHT drops to 0.875 for the first time today. Time 8, time 11:26.
Identified certain areas where there are gaps and want to fill those gaps. We will reach out to some of the best around the world to partner with us to try and ensure that we keep promoting the MSME space. Vis-a-vis creating more jobs for the MSME space and widening the scope of support for access to funding and how governance is run all over the world. Every serious-minded country, what they now do is to seek the partnership of the private sector to get things done. So where the public sector is not able to do anything or achieve anything on its own, they dig deep and put a handshake across to the private sector to get things done. So Nigeria is no different from all these nations. Yeah, welcome back. So yes, we'll be talking about those and more. We're joined here by Dr. Charles ORJI, who is the DG and CEO of SECURITIES. Good morning, thank you for coming up. Good morning, thanks for having me. I know, World MSME Day is today, and of course, there's a huge focus on Nigeria. But ever since you assumed the office, how's the office doing? What's been going on? So it's been 8 months, and one of the biggest realizations is that government is doing a lot. The people that government is doing what it's doing for are not aware. So the reality is bridging that gap between government and its audience, making sure that all what government is doing is made available to the people that government is doing for. I mean, you were involved in MSME even before you got in here, you were doing several programs, several things before this. What have you noticed as the fundamental difference? Could that be one of them? So from being in the private sector, it wasn't very glaring. But now being in government is glaring to say, okay, so government is doing this. If you take a look at some of our products, or some of the programs, we have something called the One Local Government, One Product program. So where we're supposed to identify one product in each of the 77 local governments for local consumption and also for exports. I didn't know that when I was in the private sector. We have something called the National Business Skill Development Initiative. where you train businesses and give them empowerment. I didn't know that when I was in private sector. So a couple of those kind of access, in one word, access, the democratization of the access that government is doing, is not very glaring to a lot of the NSA players.
What do you say is responsible for the disconnect?
So we conducted the town hall, and I was asking, many of them are like, listen, don't talk to us through National Television Authority, don't talk to us through the different mediums you've been talking to us through. Come and talk to us through social media. Come and talk to us through our influencers. Many of our small businesses have associations, they have cooperatives, right? And so what we're trying to do is
video is still running nicely.
Nicely.
Video is still running nicely.
To have direct communication with us as
video is still running nicely
in the country, so that they are carried out and they can cascade information to members of the organization.
Yeah, well,
video is still running nicely.
Now, I mean, in terms of what do you think was responsible for the disconnection of that place?
The medium of communication, clearly. So a lot of people have migrated to the traditional forms of communication, to social media, digital media. They're consuming a lot on the go, and so they want us to use platforms like this to also connect to them. Because the majority of our medium businesses are connected to each other. They just want to find out, okay, so if we're talking about digital, what about the traditional forms of media? A lot of people work somewhere steady, so thank you for inviting us. And using some ideas to talk to, especially those at the medium, where small and medium, and the small is divided into nano and micro. So a couple of the medium guys, a lot of them work somewhere steady. So using these platforms, using digital media, using social media to connect to them, and also
is it still recording? Yep, it's still recording. Recording nicely. So this will record. You were 32 minutes right now. I'm gonna let this record to 45 minutes. Then I'm gonna pause it, and then I will keep recording momentarily. Get this to about an hour of recording, and then we'll get ready to upload it. But actually I can pause it now, and we've gotten sufficient data to start the day off, and then we'll keep adding to it. Time 11:39. Can see that? 11:40. Just come on and see where we are. Usually when I start, once I mention the volume and they hear it, they start padding up the volume. Remember, ASU was 58,000 volume at the last update, which was like 10 minutes ago. So let's touch it so they can start padding up the volume. Yesterday they padded for up to see that 63,000 shares. Yesterday they padded 400,000. I just touched it. So let's see what happens, because the camera is recording.
Absolutely. So I'm speaking about where we are right now in the FCT. There's a area council called AMAC, right? Where we've gotten a lot of complaints that officials come and they say that they are from AMAC and they ask for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. If not, they threaten to close the store. At our town meeting, I set our small businesses, get the names of the people, because what had happened is we called the head of the area councils in the FCT, and we reported this to say that this is what's been happening to our small businesses in AMAC. And the head of the area council said, listen, we do not know these people. Really? We don't know these people. Wow. They've come with fake identities, hoping to tax the small businesses. So when we had that town hall meeting, and we spoke about small businesses, one of the small businesses owners decided to challenge the officer who has come from AMAC. And before we knew, the guy flee. Ran away. Wow. So what had happened is that all these people have just come in the names of this government agency to tax the small businesses. But that's not to say that it doesn't happen. When it happens, that's why we set up the council, so that it escalates. If there's a regulatory problem, we can address it at the state level. I think one of the things that the government can do is whatever processes that businesses need, whether it's small, big, put it on your side. Let everybody know these are the things you need. If anybody's asking for this, don't give it. It makes life easier for people. It does businesses, it does. But again, our small businesses, let's take another instance, NAFTA for instance. The process to getting a NAFTA registration is less than 100,000. It's from one of the licenses. But what happens is small businesses now employ consultants who charge them close to $1 million to get that license. And then what NADAC is trying to do, and that's not to say that there's not a lot of backup, but NADAC is trying to digitize the processes. Because again, there are a lot of people who are using fake products that are affecting, or they're affecting even the bottom line of the revenue of the small businesses that they imitate, but also affecting the health of the people that consume. So they're trying to digitize that process. What we're doing and
camera is recording.
So make sure that we will shake hands with NADAC to make sure that the process is easier.
I set it to auto record. When it's on, I'm not even looking.
People consume. Listen, that is an issue. But when you sat with the professor, teacher of NADAC, he said, listen, Charles, it's not that it's NADAC is an issue. It's that our small businesses are now using consultants, and small businesses are not going through this part. So they're like, okay, let us solve the problem. We will take NADAC digitization to all of our states. So at our state offices, at the 6 states and the FCT, we have NADAC processes there. So as a small business owner, working together. Also, we're setting up labs where NADAC will certify. So as a small business owner, you don't even bother yourself with buying the product or buying the machine and buying the lab. Come there and then use the facility.
NADAC really needs to. It's interesting you've given the example of NADAC, and when you think about what is currently happening in Lagos, even though they say they're still investigating, but there is this talk of people.
Camera is still recording.
Among some people who try.
I'll record for the next few minutes and then I'll stop. You can see as the camera is recording, you can see they're adding more. You can see the SBUS Starbucks, they keep bringing the Starbucks in at the same number. You can see that.
Businesses to be willing, to know that it's not going to take me so long. I don't need a consultant. I can do it myself. And get themselves certified. Know what they need to do to keep their environment clean and not kill people. Because right now, people are losing their lives, for things that are totally avoidable. I'm just a little curious as to when you're looking at making the processes easier. Is it that you're looking to reduce the number of forms that are some people don't like forms at all? They'll find ways to get around it, or is it that precisely what is it? Yesterday I listened to somebody tell me about how she tried to get a school for is it an NGO, and she has to travel from Agibingu to Apapa, from Apapa to Isolo, even though she was meeting up along the way. With all of that traveling, I just wondering for something that we just want to make easier for small businesses. If an NGO has to go through that, how much more business?
I agree. So which is why at all of our offices now we set up a one-stop shop. So all the things that you need. So first of all, the problem of information. All the things that you need to start scale, you can get it. So I have sister government agencies, NEPC, which is in charge of investment, in charge of exports, NIPC in charge of investment, SON, CAC. These are sister organizations. So all the information from my sister organizations are already available at our state offices. I do understand in terms of removing the wait time. So the other is the wait time. Something like CAC, let's say a company in Nigeria right now is less than 48 hours, right? But in that scenario where an NGO needs to get school now, all the information that she needed, right? Rather than going from one office to another, she can just go to Sweden at the one-stop shop and she gets all the information. So we would also encourage the small businesses to visit our offices. In the case where she has gone to these places and she can't get it, then she escalates to the first point of call is the Ministry of Commerce and Trade in the different states. And if they can't solve it there, then they bring it to the council. Our job is to make sure that it's easy to run businesses here. It's easy for anyone to start something and make it profitable.
Because no one is usually, what happens is that, I'm looking at the figures, you said we had over 40 million MSMEs registered as at 2017 or so. The number should be way bigger by now.
Yes.
How many of them are still functional even from that 2017 is not something I will know. But if, for instance, you have said one of the ways you're reaching these people is through social media. I do not know if they are, when you say social media, precisely, is it Twitter, is it Instagram, what precisely are you on?
So we're using Instagram, we're using Twitter, we're using LinkedIn, we're using Facebook to engage all of our community members. And also, we have, if you take an industry like food, right, there are some influencers there, right, people that people listen to and engaging them as well. So we're not leaving no stone unturned. We're using every way to reach out to make sure that we counter fake news. 1, 2, make sure that that everyone is not impressed with what we're doing. Speaking about the businesses that operate for now, since 2017, last count showed that we lost some businesses. One due to COVID-19 in 2020, but also because of insecurity. I want to tackle that. We started to engage with the IT police have given us a couple of ways to circumvent insecurity. And we have said to our people, they see something, say something. You can't stop and silent, speak out. So that we can help you. That's why we're set up as a community agency.
You can see how I just came in. As soon as I walked in, the AHT went to 88 and then dropped immediately to 0.87. You can see the time, 11:48. As they monitor me from the camera, and then adjust the stock price. I'm going to do it again. Unfortunately, yeah, hearing what I'm saying, so I'm going to mute the camera. I'm going to hey Siri, mute the volume.
Media volume set to 0%.
Because if you look at us as humans, right, you're only identified when
hey Siri,
someone can be in society and they say
turn off microphone.
billion NIN bank account, we don't know him.
A microphone, colloquially called a mic, or mic, is a transducer that converts sound into an electrical signal.
Laws, CAC is the first point of contact. And you can register a business in CAC today in less than 48 hours. The reason why a lot of small businesses are
Okay, so
I agree with what you say is that the government
let me go get
to
some
feel like, okay,
coffee.
when I register at CAC, I start getting tax. No. Right now, if you do a revenue of less than 25 million, you don't even pay taxes, right? And you don't know this, but you get incentives. You get incentives in terms of business development services from Smithern. You get, in some cases, cheap loans. You get grants. You get common facilities. So right now, we set up common facilities because we understand that it's very expensive to run a business. But what the government has done is has taken a lot of industrial development centers, mapped it across the country. And what we've done is first of all, we've given you access to cheap loan. You can come into that facility. You don't have to buy, if you're in garments, cotton like you're talking about, cottage. You don't have to buy the sewing machines. You don't have to maintain the sewing machines. You don't put out yourself about power. You just come here, get loans, go and buy your material, come here, sew it, book your time, book your machine, sew. You can warehouse if you want to, and then distribute it anywhere in Nigeria. At zero cost to the small business.
That is happening already?
It's happening. I would love to invite you to do. It's happening here, just behind you, close to the train station, right?
I have questions for you.
It's actually, I'd like to start from that very last question that you asked, about the fact that you don't get to pay tax when they haven't made up to 25 million naira in a year. But then there is the space of documentation, and that's the only proof that they haven't made up to 25 million naira in a year, leading to the awareness or knowledge of the young people, particularly those in the nano, micro, small and medium enterprises, about business. Is there any kind of business mentoring or business education initiatives for them so that they don't find themselves, at least they know what to do, and whoever comes, just as you have described, you can tell the person to go to the next house or something? Thank you so much for that question.
I am typing a response now to a comment now to Senator Chuck Schumer.
Approximately 200 business development service providers, right? And these service providers are the guys who are offering mentorship, offering business advice for small businesses across the 36 states and the FCT. So on our website, we've identified and we let you know who these business service providers are. And in many cases, you don't pay. The small businesses don't pay for these services. The next point of call is our office. We've set up a one-stop shop in all of our state offices where you need all the information that you need. You get them at our state offices. And on a monthly basis, we organize the small business clinic. And we just set up like a health clinic where you come as a small business, you get diagnosed, we understand what problems that you're faced with, and then we start to give you innovative, meticulously planned out solutions for all of your businesses. In other times, in other clients, we have products called cooperatives. So our one local government product initiative, for instance, there's a product where we give not one-to-one right now, but one-to-many. We solve the problems of businesses in a cooperative, we solve the problems of businesses in a sectors in Nigeria. We had the privilege, Channel Television spoke with Alibaba, who I'm sure you know very well, concerning the creative industry. And he mentioned to us that the creative industry alone, before the Fashola government ended, was making something in the region of 16 billion naira every weekend in Lagos alone. Cascading that to now will be something in the region of 20 to 25 billion naira every weekend in the city of Lagos alone. And according to him, the Nigeria Economic Summit Group doesn't even capture the creative industry as a significant industry in Nigeria. So I'm just asking you, what are the top MSME sectors in the country that that the people who are in it or who are not even in it or not aware of it can get into, that will be profitable?
As a development organization in Nigeria, we've identified 7 top performing industries. One has to do with the creative industry in terms of cottage, fashion, hygiene, skin, and leather. And what we've done is we've provided a common facility for small businesses in that sector to actually do a lot of work at a reduced cost. And we've started a campaign which is called Wear Nigeria, for instance. That's what I'm putting on now, is made in Nigeria, right? So that Wear Nigeria, supporting all those small businesses in that region. The second is the fast-moving consumer goods sector. What we've done is we've also set up a lab that will be NAFDAC certified in the Commonwealth, where small businesses in packaging, in foods can come and use the lab and then almost immediately start to sell. And in that way, we're seeing It's Nigeria, where all these businesses in horticulture, agriculture, poultry, fishery can actually take advantage of the initiative that was set up in It's Nigeria, so that they can actually produce for local consumption and also for export. And the third is Watch and Listen Nigeria. We're working with numbers in our Nollywood music industry, and we're seeing that is top performing. Our music is being consumed in Nigeria and out of Nigeria, our movies as well. And then we've seen this Watch and Listen Nigeria. The fourth is our small manufacturing industries. Those who are manufacturing cosmetics, those who are manufacturing food, those who are manufacturing household items. So those we've seen under Produce Nigeria. And there are 3 others. One is the Visit Nigeria initiative, and the other is the Patronize Nigeria, because our services industry is also very important. And the numbers that we're seeing is that a lot of small businesses are in the service industry, and then there have been record numbers. So all of this is
my thing is still recording. Hope it's capturing some good data. I just posted a couple more comments. As the criminals are still doing what they're doing, I'm going to touch the GNS to see whether they've started padding the volume, the AHT, as they did yesterday. You can see from the time I logged on, you can see how it trended. It went down. You can see that volume is 78,000. I alone own over 40. So the criminals coordinate, shot it. After shotting it, they sit on it. You can see that. You can see GNS. Today there was a tweet from the CEO himself tweeting and telling people, showing an analyst report that just came out today, showing that the stock is worth $2.25. And these criminals, that one companies and their cronies and people that assist them, that are targeting me, sell it down 10 times less than its value because of me. 10 times less than its value because of me.
Like I said earlier, the son of the nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. You can take advantage of all the progress that they're doing without even knowing, you have this, I know I'm my party.
They will regret ever knowing my name. I'll make sure they regret ever knowing my name.
So if you go on our website, all of our programs are
this is just starting.
Stand a fair chance of
Next page is about to start.
By just applying online. So for those who do not have access to internet, because data penetration is also very low, we're using their gatekeepers, we're using the cooperatives, which is why we go into a city and we'll work with the cooperatives. And then we skill, and secondly is working with the gatekeepers, working with the people in the rural community. Because one of our mandates at SMADA is in accordance to job creation is also rural industrialization, poverty alleviation, and livelihood enhancement. And we can't be in all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria at the same time. So what we're doing is we're using our stakeholders, leveraging our state offices, but also working with local government chairmen. So we met with the head of all the local government associations in Nigeria. And what we said to them is, please give us a space, first of all, so that
Welcome to the Waverhood. With Wayfair, finding your style is fun.
Oh, it's still recording.
The music stops, grab me the chair.
Well,
Doesn't matter if it's
let's capture a little more. Let's capture a little more.
Carl, this is me in chair form. I don't see you.
This one's perfect for you.
Turn the recorder on so we can capture more details.
And it might
looking for, according to many news reports here in the United States, they're going to be looking at how the man handled the question, not just because of stamina, but questions about immigration, reproductive rights, and the handling of the economy. All issues that voters have said so far they do care about.
Okay, Roger, doing that is in Washington, D.C. So ahead on Al Jazeera, the WikiLeaks founder begins life once again as a free man, but has yet to speak publicly about his ordeal. Imran Khan's legal woes continue as a 14-star has rejected an appeal by former Prime Minister was released from prison.
Israel's war on Gaza becoming a forever war. Across the United States, why are the student protests for Palestine being met with military-style crackdowns? Why does Biden insist on zero consequences for Israel in its war on Gaza? Because if you look at U.S. politics, the bottom line.
Radio channel that covers world news and media, we revisit cases instead. Al Jazeera really invested that, and that's a privilege as a journalist.
The latest news that a finding here could be used by the International Criminal Court as further pieces of evidence of Israel's war crimes in Gaza. With detailed figures, proof of the 36 hospitals in Gaza have been destroyed, and critical health care remain inaccessible in the heart of the story.
The images that remain are part of the overall picture of the occupied West Bank, where violent Israeli military raids are relentless. Watching Al Jazeera, my local top stories this hour. Hundreds of police officers and soldiers on the streets in Kenya a day after the president withdrew a proposed law that would raise taxes. Police been using tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse protesters. The Israeli military has launched an operation in East Gaza City with ordered people to leave the Sudalia neighborhood. Northern Gaza, 3 Israeli airstrikes have been divided a refugee camp killing at least 32 Palestinians. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled to temporarily allow abortions in Idaho for pregnant women facing medical emergencies. That reinstates the lower court's decision that the state's more complete ban on abortion contravenes the Emergency Medical Treatment Labor Act. President Joe Biden's administration had sued Idaho, arguing the act takes precedent over state law. Senator Britannia was last in Washington, D.C. at the Supreme Court. So, what has the court found? Take us through the Supreme Court's decision.
This is a very technical decision, but effectively saying, look, we took this case on too early. It still should wend its way through the lower courts before it reaches us. Now, having said that, the Supreme Court has exactly framed itself in glory for several reasons. First of all, we knew about this decision 24 hours ago, because someone inadvertently posted it on their website very briefly. But secondly, the Supreme Court, in taking up this decision, has said that
Yep, still recording.
were to be
Nice.
outlawed unless the life of the mother was in danger, causing enormous amounts of trauma and danger to mothers in Idaho, who in some cases had to be flown out of the state in order to get the treatment they needed. But the fundamental issue then hasn't been resolved, and that is, since the Supreme Court decision in 2022, which ended the constitutional right to an abortion, many states in the U.S. have effectively outlawed abortion, except in the sinister cases, so incest, rape, or if the life of the mother is
Is this decision likely to have any impact on the campaigns?
No, I think that's why there's a lot of interest in it though, because it's just basically been sent back to the lower courts. We expect abortion to be an issue that the Biden campaign gets quite a bit in the debate tonight, for example, because they feel
Okay, the video has been recording for a while now. I am still picking up details, you know. Let me see what I can post this.
In Bolivia, a senior army commander has been arrested after what the president is calling an attempted coup. On Wednesday, armored vehicles rammed the entrance to the presidential palace in La Paz, and troops stormed the halls inside. Outside the ramp here to report from the Colombian capital, where leaders have condemned the offensive.
An armored vehicle ramming the entrance of Bolivia's presidential palace on Wednesday, clearing the way for troops to storm in what the government has called an attempted coup. The men who led the operation, General Fuentes of Zuniga, had been dismissed a day earlier. Outside the palace, he cited growing anger about Bolivia's economic slump and rising poverty.
The armed forces intend to restructure democracy to make it a true democracy, not one run by the same few people for 30 or 40 years.
Inside, President Luis Arce could be seen confronting Zuniga. He also urged Bolivians to come out on the side of democracy. Supporters answered his call and faced off with soldiers outside the palace.
They wanted to surprise and the Bolivian people. We have reacted, and the people have mobilized against this attempted coup. Thank you to the Bolivian people.
A few hours later, the soldiers withdrew, and Zuniga was arrested. He then said, without providing evidence, that the president had asked him to stage the coup attempt.
The president told me the situation was bad, and this week would be critical, that something was needed to increase his popularity. And I asked him, shall we bring out the armored vehicles? And he said, bring them out.
President Arce is facing several challenges. Bolivia is in the middle of one of the worst economic crises in its history. GDP growth is at its lowest level in 2 decades. Inflation and unemployment rates are rising, and the central bank is running out of currency. Protests are becoming irregular. Later in the evening, Zuniga and an alleged co-conspirator presented to crowds. A government official says they could face up to 20 years in prison. As night fell, calm returned to La Paz, but many Bolivians remain on the streets.
Many citizens don't want to leave. They say, what will we do in our homes? We won't be calm. We don't want to make peace.
Leaders from Brazil, Mexico, and here in Colombia have expressed alarm and denounced what they consider an attack on democracy. And although President Arce declared the situation under control, it doesn't take away the reality of a country deeply divided and on the edge of possible explosion. Nrde, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
A court in Pakistan has rejected an appeal by former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife to release them from prison. Khan and his third wife, Bushra Bibi, asked an Islamabad court to suspend their 7-year jail terms for what was ruled an illegal marriage. The couple were found guilty of violating Islamic law by failing to observe a required interval after Bushra divorced her previous husband. Khan has been in prison on a range of convictions since August. He maintains the case is politically motivated and aimed at derailing his return to power in elections in February. Nrde has more from outside the courthouse in Islamabad.
Hundreds of supporters of Imran Khan have gathered
even ordinary people, especially women too, who are struggling to get justice.
So that got it. See the time? 12:50. 12:37. 12:37. 12:37 p.m. 12:37 p.m.
Do you think that Israel has any end game in mind now? Or do you believe that this blur of what looks like atrocities from others is the end?
Well, Israel is a complicated place, and different Israelis have different games in mind. I think for the far right, which is influential, I'm talking about people like Ben-Gvir, these are people who are in the cabinet, but really the extreme right. The end game is one state between the Jordan River, the Mediterranean Sea, which is a Jewish state, and any Palestinian who wants to live there as a guest is welcome to do so, but they're not a full citizen. That's an extreme position, but they made clear it wouldn't be so bad if Palestinians and Gaza just took up with that. And as I say, that's an extreme position, but if they are part of the government. I think for somebody like Netanyahu, use the expression, we're going to get out rid of the bad guys, we're going to good guys. There are no good guys for that. And so it's not as if he's talking about mass expulsion, like his far-right flank is, but he's thinking, we've got to be there. And again, they were fairly clear statements from the beginning. There will have to be, Israel, the way they put it, Israel is responsible for its own security in Gaza, meaning we're there forever. It doesn't necessarily all the way up to date like the West Bank, but it means we go and we do whatever we feel we have to do, whatever we feel we have to do. And that's essentially an ongoing and indefinite Israeli military presence in Gaza.
We've seen recently an interesting kind of tension inside Israel, and I'd love your comments on that. One, Benny Gantz stepping out of the war cabinet. We've actually seen the Israeli military try to enact and say they're going to enact humanitarian clauses so that aid and relief can get in to people. I need to remind audience, those people, many of these people are innocent people and innocent victims caught in the vice here this morning. And you see Israeli cabinet officials coming out and slamming the Israeli military for humanitarian justice. This is all happening in broad daylight, broad visibility, overtly. And I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, I mean, who needs a court and a justice when this is still happening? But your thoughts on some of these internal Israeli tensions that seem to be bubbling to the surface?
Well, there's this British idea of collective cabinet responsibility, which is literally something very deeply in Israeli. They go after each other, how to criticize each other, how to criticize a decision that the cabinet voted on the day before, they vote against it, leak like crazy. And as a result, we have a pretty good idea of the arguments that are going on. I made reference before to the extreme right that says, state only, guests are welcome as long as they're peaceful. And then Netanyahu basically, what I would say is sort of center right now is really Trump, which basically says there will be no Palestinian state. We'll deal with Palestinians in terms of local communities and so on, but not as a collective. And they're welcome to run their own schools and pick up their own trash and rent their parking lots. But for serious issues, it's going to be the Israeli state of control. And then there's also what I would call kind of the Israeli security establishment. And they're looking at this probably a little bit closer to the American position. They're not necessarily ready for a two-state solution. They're skeptical of it. But they say, look, we've got a working relationship with the Palestinian Authority. We may not like them, we have the authorities in Ramallah, but we've got security coordination with them. We've got a very close security relationship with the United States. We don't want to mess that up. So there tend to be a little bit more, I would say, cautious and responsible as the Americans see it. And that's a real
never be a Palestinian state or to figure out some structure. You wrote about this in your article. They'll subcontract to some Palestinians to take care of those daily life needs. I'm just wondering, is that realistic in any sense? How would that work? Am I missing something here? Or is the equation designed never to be solved?
I think, and again, it's not my equation, but I'll try to present it sympathetically from a Israeli point of view. That's a handling component. No, it's not going to be solved. It's managed, but it can't be solved. So how do you manage it? Well, it looks a little bit like what's going on in the West Bank right now, where you have this weak Palestinian Authority, you have Palestinian security forces coordinate with Israel, and the Palestinian Authority doesn't like it. Palestinian security forces don't really like it. They're really low by considering forces of population. It's a subcontractor for the Israeli occupation. But it's the only way to keep the little island of Palestine alive. So I think that might be the model for them. One way to do it is security control. I think they go where they want, do what they want, whenever they want. But they have workable arrangements with local leaders. And, the Palestinian Authority of the West Bank collapses, that might mean local warlords, local EOP common individual who says, I'll be the interlocutor between people in this village and the Israeli occupation. And maybe you could do something like that in Gaza, which has some of the population is tribalized into the tribes. Leaders sometimes go to refugee camps that have their own spontaneous committee will deal with the committee, will deal with whoever's in charge of the grounds, and let them enforce order, and they just make deals with them to basically give them privileges, give them benefits that they can fund to buy off part of their population.
What you're really talking about is a kind of dramatic chaos in this. You talk about warlords, and this first conversation I've had along the line that it's resonating with me. We had Michael Hanna of the International Crisis Group on recently, and Michael basically said that the United States and the rest of the world continue to talk about the two-state solution and an aspiration to that out of desperation because it can't figure out how to formulate any other potential governance dimension, and it doesn't want to talk about Somalia on the border of Israel. What are your personal thoughts?
I think that's exactly right. I can give an analogy comes out a little bit to lighthearted American policy. I would say kind of the general thrust of international policy is a little bit like the cartoon characters that slam off a cliff as a friend of the world is very fall. That's the two-state solution. It is one that in public, the private administration keeps talking about it. European leaders keep talking about it. In public, in private, everybody knows that the two-state solution is not the cause. It's not the cause anytime soon. The real debate is it dead forever or is it just in line for private interests for decades? But the idea of viable two-state diplomacy right now, I don't think anybody wants to believe. But once you accept that, then what are you for? And the implications of that are, I think, just too distasteful from a policy point of view. So the Trump administration, when it was in office, it actually basically came close to embracing it. Said, hey, that's great. We'll let Palestinians now little islands. They can call it a state if they want, but it's not going to be under their control. So especially to the Democrats, it's really, really tough to say that because the next step would be, wait a second, two states aren't happening. Then what is this thing? This is beginning to look a little bit like apartheid. And I think that A word is one that divides the Democratic Party, it divides generations within the Democratic Party, it divides the left and kind of more centrist wings, it divides more establishment from say the Sanders wing, and so it is in policy terms and in domestic political terms just very, very uncomfortable territory.
Look, you are right now in Germany, and your home base is George Washington University down the street with Nrde Plumbing and on college campuses throughout this country, but also George Washington University. You have encampments, you have young people basically protesting America and the Biden administration's approach to the Israeli-Gaza crisis, and also return first, to the campaign focus. Yes, it's very divisive in the States. When I talk to the sort of students that I have at GW, this is seen not through the lens of people of my generation. I'll let you know I'm old enough to remember the 1960s.
See recording.
People from my generation. But it's really seen almost as
AHT 0.88 to Lost Town Motors to the GNS 0.28. They're matching both of them, which is beautiful because I'm putting the information out there and everybody's seeing it.
And I like your setup that you got.
Yeah, I don't have to. It's recording right now. I don't even have to look at it. Because they tapped into this computer and they see me because this computer I have to monitor me, so they see me when I come over here, and then once I come over here, they gamify the stock, and then when I leave, just imagine the kind of people they were talking about anyway, that have nothing else to do except stay there and then watch me all day. That will let you know who they are. Just drug addicts, But
low wage, probably the people actually doing it are low wage, just like
yeah, they assign some people to do it.
Exactly.
The money they made over $3 billion, they can use it and hire 100 people and put them on the case for 5 years and pay them with pennies from the money they stole from this scheme, because it's a very lucrative one. That's why you see it going the way it's going. We have over 40 companies agree, hey, we all sell. Everybody put in your stuff, nobody buys it up. So what else are you going to do? And these are banks, So they just keep selling, and they sell to each other. It's not like they sell, they have the dark web. And so they target these companies and they just keep selling. And they sell to themselves. So really nothing. But we'll do our best to unmask them. Yeah.
You were, as I understand it, president of the Middle East Studies Association, and for our audience, Middle East Studies Association is really a collection of academics, intellectuals that are thinking of Middle East studies, also organized, I assume, through the American Cybercrimes Association and other groups like that. Is the quality of discourse what it used to be? Is the honesty, the ability to communicate, to be open and honest? We have been talking a little bit about, the challenges of censorship over some of these discussions. But it's also playing out in American society and around the world. I love your reflections on whether we still have help in something like the Middle East Studies Association. Well, my short answer would be debates are pretty frail in public life. And within the Middle East Studies Association, I would say, the real debate is not is Israel guilty of war crimes, but is Israel guilty of genocidal war crimes, such as other activities. The book on the Middle East Studies Association
I still want Malbec.
is harshly critical. The book that there are people who's going for city and reading the poetry or Linus Master Dragon, Israel and Palestine. Those who are, I would say, extremely critical. And at a public level, that's just the rigidity and trillness of the discourse really is something that's disheartening. It's something you can follow this thing down. In private, I think things are very different. When I go into a classroom, it's such a synagogue class, or I talked to some of the Palestinian demonstrators here in the city of Honolulu a couple of weeks ago. People understand that this is a critical moment, it is a horrible moment, and there are forces at work which they don't completely understand. So when you get in private, and when people are sort of posing in order to be pro this or pro that, I think you find an awful lot more nuance, and actually somewhat gratifying by the kinds of discussions you have. I'm interested in this tension between how we talk about the day after and rebuilding when the task is so gargantuan of what would be needed versus the decimation that's happening majority of blocks is complete homeless, many more than blocks than closest finances puts up over. You've got a rest-based society that's not subject to that level of violence, but if you watch it, other Palestinians have this happen to them, and they are traumatized and ineffectual as well. There's just a level of despair in Palestinian society. There was even before October 2nd. I think it was that made Hamas think October 2nd would bring them domestic support, that level of despair. And now I think it's going to be just wild. So we're in for a period not simply of physical reconstruction, political reconstruction, legal, emotional, and mental health reconstruction. That is a task on the order of magnitude that we haven't seen this conflict ever before.
We'll have to leave it there. George Washington University political scientist Nathan Brown, thank you so much for joining us from Germany today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So what's the bottom line? Are we deluding ourselves to think that X number of billions of dollars for X number of years is going to fix and restore Gaza? Yes, we are. That's just how the international community likes to frame it. Every global leader knows we can't replace the schools and the hospitals and the homes and the agriculture of a region that has grown organically for centuries and even millennia. But we don't know how to talk about 20,000 or thousands of amputees or how to restore millions of lives. So we talk about what's comfortable, not concrete and dollars, rather than mothers and sisters or dads and brothers who are innocent and now are dead, or are maimed, or homeless, and or malnourished. Look at the recent aid conference that was held in Jordan. $3.5 billion was pledged over 3 years. That's not a Marshall Plan. That's rebuild right. Feel-good promises that actually achieve nothing. With full U.S. support, Israel has now created a global breeding ulcer that's going to challenge superpowers and nations for decades to come. And that's the bottom line.
What is the effect of conflict?
Oh my God, this is still recording. Okay, yeah, that's fine. At least it has recorded this. I'm going to touch this, the AHT, for you guys to see the volume. It was 78,000 when I last updated it around 11. You can see that they've taken it to 128,000. Recall that yesterday they did 400,000. They did almost 500,000 on yesterday. They generated, as they were trying to get it to 87 cents to fill 350 shares. And I had at 87 cents. I just touched it. Now look at this. This was 367 when I last touched it. Got 699. They sell between one up and one down. One up and one down. You can see that. So
voices of the people who saw the forest as a way of making money were so much louder than the voices of the people who lived in it. And when it came to land use, as the indigenous people of the island, we were not part of the conversation.
President William Ruto and his economic policies refuses to die down on the streets of Kenya. Israel launches a military operation on the Shujaiya neighborhood east of Gaza City. These 8 Palestinians.
The meeting is 1:30, not 1.
The United Nations says the conflict in Sudan has put nearly 800,000 people to a starvation. Thus,
I'm Alan Fisher in Atlanta, Georgia, with Joe Biden and Donald Trump will go face to face for one of the earliest debates in American presidential history, and one that could prove to be the most consequential.
protests against the government of Rwanda across Kenya. Hundreds of police officers and soldiers are on the streets of the capital, Nrde. Police have been firing tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse the demonstrators. It comes a day after President William Ruto withdrew proposals to raise taxes. He's ordered soldiers to quash the protest, but organisers say that would be illegal. Martin Webb has more now from Nairobi.
Protesters here chanting Ruto must go. It comes after Wednesday President Ruto said that he would stop the finance bill. They're being broken up into tear gas once again every time the crowd tries together. It's using that to disperse them. It seems evident the government doesn't really want any kind of demonstration to take place. As far as Wednesday, President Ruto saying that he would withdraw the finance bill, that controversial attempt by the government to increase taxes. The demonstration say it will be gone beyond that. He's saying ending corruption, arrest of accountability, poor governance, and now the threat is bringing more people were killed on Tuesday. One reason why they say Ruto must go. And it was when the demonstrators entered Parliament on Tuesday, just a couple of blocks from here. Security agencies used live gunfire against unarmed protesters, and that seems to have made the protesters even more angry. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Nairobi, Kenya.
Protests are also taking place outside of the Kenyan capital. Catherine Soy has more from Nrde.
We are organizing here on the outskirts of the city. Protesters have been using this to buy fires and saying that they do not
Put this thing down there for me. Put it like so I will remember to apply it. These are Epsom salt. I need to apply it to some of my plants. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh my God, it's still recording. Yep, exactly. See, I've recorded for 1 hour 35 minutes. 1 hour 35 minutes. And I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you the AHT. You can see the number now. You can see that 133,000 shares. And then let's see the GNS. You can see the GNS, 5 million shares. And then let's see the Nrde, 912 shares. You can see that? 912 shares. Okay? All right.
airstrikes that hit the Jabalia refugee camp.
I spent about 9 months in London. When I left from there, that's where I started my career in IT. I'm part of executive leadership. I have a team of 33 people, but the thought of not having a degree, I think that really kind of was a launching pad. I knew I needed that grounding and that foundation. My accomplishment with AMU is very much the art of the possible. This is something that you can do as a full-time husband, you can do as a full-time father, a full-time employee, you can absolutely do it.
Propelling the far right into power. Last night, our correspondent Natasha Butler is acting anti-far right rally in Paris. Natasha, not long to go for that vote. What is the mood where you are? Anti-far right rally. What's happening is there are some useful acts and people on stage who are talking to the people gathered here. And the message that we're hearing is that, of course, they are worried and scared that Marine Le Pen's national rally party will get into power in these elections. They say that would erode democracy in France. They say that would erode rights. There are all sorts of people here. Some of the organisers are media organisations. They're worried about freedom of speech and expression if the far right get into power. In fact, the National Rally has already said if they were to win this election, that they would look at privatising some state media, for example. There are also anti-racism groups. There's a lot of concern over the new look National Rally, if you like, because over the past few years, Marine Le Pen has certainly tried to project a more mainstream image with their party to soften some of the edges, and what people here say is that the anti-immigration, the anti-Muslim message is still very strong, and that the National Rally poses a danger to France, a danger to so many people, including women. And then there are people who also are just worried about what will happen to France generally. They're looking at France, the EU country wants to NATO of the European Union, and they're worried about France's reputation as a defender of values and rights. In fact, that was in Paris. In Bolivia, a senior army commander has been arrested after what the president is calling an attempted coup. On Wednesday, armed vehicles rammed the entrance of the presidential palace in La Paz and threw storm force inside. Alexander Redmond reports from the Colombian capital where leaders have condemned the attacks.
An armored vehicle ramming the entrance of Bolivia's presidential palace on Wednesday, clearing the way for troops in what the government has called an attempted coup. The man who led the operation, General Franco Zuniga, had been dismissed a day earlier. Outside the palace, he cited growing anger about Bolivia's economic slump and rising poverty.
The armed forces intend to restructure democracy to make it a true democracy, not one run by the same few people for 50 or 40 years.
Inside those venues, Arce could be seen confronting Zuniga. He also urged Bolivians to come out in the cause of democracy. Supporters answered his call in state park with soldiers outside the palace.
They wanted to surprise us and the Bolivian people. We have reacted, and the people have mobilized against us. Thank you to the Bolivian people.
A few hours later, the soldiers withdrew. Zuniga was arrested. He then said without providing evidence that the president had asked them to stage the coup attempt.
The president told me the situation was bad, and this week would be critical. Something was needed to increase his popularity, and I asked him, shall we bring out the armored vehicles? And he said, bring them up.
President Arce is facing several challenges. Bolivia is in the middle of one of the worst economic crises in its history. GDP growth is at its lowest level in 2 decades. Inflation and unemployment rates are rising, and the central bank is running out of foreign currency. Protests are becoming irregular. Later in the evening, Zuniga and an alleged co-conspirator presented to crowds. A government official says they could face up to 20 years in prison. The night fell, armed returned to La Paz, but many Bolivians remained
we provide similar people. We may give out 5 kilos of lentils, and that would be enough for 2 days for a family. Cooking it here helps us feed more families, and we provide food daily. Some of our kitchens provide for up to 2,000 families.
Sudan's government says this initiative will work to ease the needs of the areas affected by the conflict.
To be lifting involved, and that's where you all come in, and we certainly appreciate that work. So where we are today is picking up. We've been able to isolate documents that are most likely to be privileged in some way, and that is why we need your eyes on them.
They took it back
We anticipate the tagging process. To whatever extent you've been able to review the document memo, I hope you have. But hopefully your impression is that it's a really straightforward kind of up and down privilege review. There'll be 4 choices that you'll choose from when you review a document. And hopefully that simplicity makes the review a bit easier for you given particular privilege challenges that may come up. But anyway, the first tag will be, of course, not privileged. So that's a pretty straightforward choice. The second is privilege redact. I'm sorry, privilege withhold. And that's really the meat of what we're trying to get at. For every document that you see that will be privileged, we will ask you to choose the basis for the privilege: attorney-client, work product, or common interest, joint interest, defense privilege. We have provided some context and some discussion of those privileges and how they might be applied in the memo for your reference as you're going through those documents. The third tag is the privilege redact, and that's pretty self-explanatory. You might come across a document that may have a portion of the email communication or document that needs to be redacted, but the rest won't. So we'll just need you to tag redact, and then also to choose the basis of the privilege that will apply. And of course, there is a 4th tag, which is called further review. And knowing that questions do arise as you're going through, it might be easy just to tag further review if you can't get through a document quick enough. And if you have time to go back once you go through a batch, to go back to your further reviews. We do ask that you follow up with us if you've got a question and really can't determine the basis, what the communication is, what the context is. We just ask you to kick it up so we can take care of it, so we're not left with a whole load of further reviews at the end of the review. Before we get to a brief overview of any substantive issues, does anyone have any questions? I'd like to open up the floor to anyone.
I would just note that that further review tag, if a reviewer does hit that tag, that'll get escalated to Tim, kind of in the review management leadership team, and they'll look at the document, look at the question, and then from there they'll decide if it's a question that's worth going to you. So you shouldn't have to be, looking through docs for further review, looking for questions. We'll specifically give you the questions as necessary.
I have a question. Right. You mentioned the redaction. Do you want us to then send out someplace, perhaps in the notes, the specifics of what needs to be redacted?
Yes. If there is, and I'm not exactly sure what the palette might look like, but sometimes there is a space for comments. Thomas, will that be provided in that palette?
Yep, got it.
Oh, okay, great.
The comment box. Yep.
Right. In the comments, we just ask you to drop a brief description of where we might be able to locate that in the document. Great question. Thank you so much. All right. I'll just go ahead and move on. In terms of the documents themselves, sometimes it's hard to get going when you first start out on a review to know who the custodians are, what names you should be looking for, and terms in the context of the email. So we've tried to assist the best we can with that using some highlighting. There will be highlighted names for you that will assist your assessment of privilege. And in the memo, there's an appendix with identification of certain names who are important, in-house attorneys and law firms,
and outside counsel. And since many of these will have those hits on them, you'll probably be referring to that appendix quite often in the very beginning until you gain some familiarity with who the players are and what they're talking about. So documents that are sent to and from attorneys at ST or outside counsel are going to be privileged as long as they address a request or a response to legal advice. The caveat to the highlighting is that just because a document doesn't have highlighting doesn't necessarily mean it's not privileged. So it may be a relief to see a document that doesn't have highlighting, but we still need you to go ahead and evaluate the document by its four corners and evaluate the context and the subject matter that's at issue. There could be communications between non-attorneys, such as employees of ST, and they're addressing advice provided to them from attorneys, or they are seeking information in response to a request from counsel. So we just ask you to consider that as you're evaluating your communications. And also, of note, documents that are gathered in furtherance of responding to the DOJ's second request. You'll see second requests in some of the communications that just refers to what the DOJ has provided our client, or otherwise prepared in anticipation of litigation would be privileged. There's also another issue that might pop up in some of your communications, and I wanted to mention a word about the common interest joint defense privilege. And that privilege can be tricky to apply because it's so fact intensive and relies on the context. If there is a third party on an email, obviously not a lawyer, and that appears on something that's otherwise not privileged, the privilege still might not be waived if the third party shares a common legal interest with the client, ST. So this is a case-by-case assessment, and I would just encourage questions, especially in the beginning, if the commonality or interest alignment among the parties is just something that you cannot determine from the email. And we've got, in the memo, we've got a layout of what the palette should look like. And having made this mistake myself, I'm always careful to share my knowledge from after learning from my mistakes. Always please double check that when you're opening up your batch, you're in the right palette. The layout that we will use is 1L privilege review. I've made the mistake of using the wrong layout and had to redo the work, which is no fun for anyone. At this point, I've just kind of gone over the overview of what you might expect to see, how to tag documents. Again, I know that once we get going, it'll become easier, but sometimes when you first start out, there'll be some questions. Those questions are probably ones that your colleagues also have, so we'll be happy to address them and send the responses out to everyone as needed. Thomas, unless you think I need to address anything else that you might think relevant or helpful to the reviewers, I think the overview is complete.
Okay. Yeah, we had more questions in the chat. Tim, can you see those questions? Could you kind of quarterback those questions, Donna?
Sure. Hi, Donna. The first is, and I actually know part of the question, but is there any distinction? I guess he's getting at the question of an implicit request for legal advice. So to the extent on some reviews you have outside counsel copies, you are more likely to find that to be an implicit request for legal advice. Why would you send it to
this video is almost 2 hours
their
now.
legal feedback as opposed to in-house?
Almost 2 hours
that
now.
being said, having been on this previously, they're almost
Look at this.
there is very little in-house.
This was why they sold it to me yesterday. See that? I'm going to touch it. I have a bid at
So I don't know if that
0.66.
really
You can see that
plays.
it's only
I guess the
144,000
reason it
shares.
comes up on a lot of
There's a
these
bid of
is that in-house counsel is
300
often
shares at
seen
0.66.
when in fact they're just
I
part of the
believe they will
team
fill
and
it.
not really a request
When
for
they
legal
do,
advice.
I'll add
Whereas
another
there's
bid.
a heightened awareness for the implicit request for legal advice when outside counsel. On the idea that no one is paying Skadden for $1,000 an hour for nothing. So the question is there any difference in treatment between the in-house counsel and outside counsel?
I don't think I'm comfortable drawing a distinction of importance between those two players. I think the implicit legal advice or request for legal advice would remain the same for both parties.
Immediately after I touched it, you see that?
Okay,
It dropped to
just because I added
0.73.
it
I'm
in
going
there,
to touch
am
it
I
again.
correct that
See that?
are very few in-house counsel for the firm?
I just touched it. You see, just as I was going
Few,
to touch it,
and they should be
raised it to
highlighted.
0.77.
Off the top of my
Immediately after I
head,
thought it has
there's
been at
Kurt
0.74.
O'Neill,
Immediately after I touched it, they dropped it to
Dahlia
0.73,
Cohen.
which will be the lowest for today. And as soon as I touched it again, it goes to 0.77.
I
Because
know
they are
that
listening to what I'm
will be
saying
highlighted,
and
so
manipulating it based on
you'll
that.
be
I have
assured
a
that
bid to buy
even
350 more
in-house
shares at
you'll be tipped off to that.
0.86. And
But they
the
do have
bid was
in-house
put in
counsel, just not as
yesterday
many.
after they came down and sold it down to 0. Filled me at
Second question is again from somebody
0.87, dropped it to
previously is
0.866.
asking
Then I
because it
dropped in
comes up
that
a lot.
350 share
Are
bid
there
at
specific third parties
0.86.
that worked on this news merger?
The bid is still there.
Like economic advisors, investment bankers that would not be considered waivers. They would generally be third parties, but that are going to fall into kind of agency/work product under because they are the economic consultants.
Right, that's a very good question. I've actually got an inquiry outstanding to see if we can get a little bit more detailed and identify the parties who we know right off the bat who would share the interest and thus would be privileged. So let me hold that question and hopefully I can get an answer back to the group.
Thanks. And one more kind of related question, but, and you already mentioned it, but with regard to the common interest doctrine, specifically with regard to the other side of the merger, is there any kind of joint defense agreement and joint defense agreement date that we need to be cognizant of that, you know, specifically we want to call attention to?
That also is on the list. We are working out a timeline that might be helpful in terms of whether privilege exists, especially as to negotiations. So I will get back to the group on that as well.
We have another question about the Four Corners rule and if the document coding is dot by dot, but I believe that's in the protocol and it is dot by dot. So the proof coding does not have to be I mean, it's AB, but not in the rule. That's not something
Those are great questions. Thank you so much.
What's the question that I put in the chat? What is the date when the common interest?
When I touch it again, you can see, remember it's been at 0.877. I'm touching it again.
Yes, I think that dovetails with one of the other questions previously asked, and I'll be getting some additional information. Hopefully that will respond to that.
Thank you.
You're
I believe
welcome.
they hear what I said from this other computer.
Any other questions from the team before we move to some that you were done with just the general like kind of protocol stuff, right? Donna, you were saying? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions from the team?
No, I think we're good. Thanks.
Okay, so then I will pause the recording as I share my screen so we don't have material in the recording.
Negotiations are still taking place.
Share my screen.
But what if, and this is very likely, today according to polls, if Trump win the presidency, knowing that Trump withdrew from its commitment from the DCPOA and cancelled the agreement. And this will
Hey,
see it. Chances of normalization between the U.S. and
can you see my screen? Okay. Alright, so, Donna, during the first training, Matthew gave a disclaimer of get your giggles out now, given the subject matter of this case. So,
That's a good introduction. Yeah.
I'm gonna say that as well. Okay. So this first one.
That can be bigger. I can't read it.
Yeah.
And the 20-year track record of the West failing to provide Iran with effective and sustainable sanctions relief. So there is a need for a new
Very good.
kind of deal with Iran.
I make a
It no longer includes the 3+1 because even that balance no longer exists because it represents the Russians at the time.
How is that? Is that readable? Okay. So right off the bat, we can see there's no highlighting on this. I've got expanded the from and the to, and nothing is highlighting. We also have in the layout, since we're here, in the 1L privilege review layout, we have if there are any STRs in the document, you'll see it in either the potential priv terms, the in-house STR, or the outside STR. They're also here. I don't see any. So again, no highlighting here, but let's take a look at the email. So have some text in red, but that's just the actual native document. Same thing. Remotely privileged. So Donna, I'm like kind of stealing your analysis here, but I don't have much to say. Outside of there's nothing here.
Exactly.
873 to match the 1.63.
Yeah, there will be other
Consider
documents before now.
on the Nrde. Let me show you the Nrde.
I
was going to touch this other screen. Remember, Nrde was, see that? 941 shares. 941 shares. And then look at the AHT. 147,000. Yesterday they generated almost 400,000. You can see the AHT.
Same analysis, non-privileged. This is similar in that there's no highlighting. I swear there are privileged documents in this list.
Okay, so the video is now 2 hours long. I'm going to stop it at 2 hours long.
Again,
and then I'm going to add other things going forward, and then we'll be able to upload this sometime tonight or tomorrow morning. Thank you.
But again, nothing.
The issue here is that there's no attorney on this email, and it looks like they're discussing financial information. I would be more concerned about a common interest or a joint privilege if an attorney was on this email.
Is there anyone from the Lighthouse side on this call that knows why the metadata has a from, but it's not on the document? I mean, it's kind of a weird from, so that might be why. But that's okay. If not, I can kind of follow up. But I just want to. That's obviously the from in this scenario is like kind of part of the analysis.
It would be helpful.
Yeah, it would be.
That can be indicative of a draft email that was never sent.
Yeah, originally, but like as the, I guess you could still save a draft with attachment. Yeah, check the duplication. Check the duplication. Like location, duplication. Oh, the duplication. Sorry, just letter there. Okay. Is this helping at all? What a meeting invite from Jeff Fortress is highlighting his in-house privilege, so I'm assuming he's an attorney. Is that, Donna?
Actually, I think he is an attorney. Let me do a quick search while we're on the phone here. And you know what? Even if I find out his current title, doesn't mean he didn't act as an attorney at some point for the company. So I will look into that.
Okay. So the location of this meeting is an Aiken Zoom call. So again, like typically in the privilege context, things like this are not privileged, but that's kind of not a you call of whether you want something like this coded priv, knowing that, let's assume Jeff Fortress is an attorney, at least for like the teams, for the team's analysis as they're in these documents, they're going to see, okay, red highlighting for in-house privilege, so they're going to assume that this is an attorney, and, accepting a meeting with Aiken regarding a distribution agreement. Is that enough for the first level team to put this as privilege, or would you want to stop?
If I'm reviewing a document like that for privilege, I tend to take the view that calendar entries such as this are not privileged simply because they don't have substance, any legal substance. But I think I will pick that question up because I think it's an important one, because you'll probably see quite a few of these in the batches. So if my answer is different, I will certainly let everyone know, but I don't think this rises to the threshold of privilege.
Yeah, that sounds right. And of course, if there was more substance, as sometimes people respond to these and include things, that's a different story. That very well could be privileged, or if for some reason the topic of the meeting was actually giving away, or that was legal in nature, and that would also be a different analysis. But for something like this, where it's a very generally vague meeting subject and basically involves likely privileged actors without any substance, we're going to go non-privileged for now, unless we otherwise read.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Those are the examples I pulled. Donna, is there any, the answer very well could be no, but is there any type of document that you've seen that you think the team might have trouble with, or that you'd like me to hunt down right now, or anything that comes to mind? Now that we've seen some of the documents and talked through, from the reviewer's perspective, how they're going to do that analysis, if there's anything that comes to mind that might give them trouble, or...
Having reviewed several of these already, I think, my only sticking point, and it was brought up by several of the astute reviewers already, is perhaps a timeline when a common interest or a joint defense privilege might come into play. Those are the only emails that I think require even more scrutiny, and whatever information I can get to assist with that analysis, I will provide.
Okay. Comment that Jeff Borchers, yes, is in the protocol as an in-house attorney and paralegal. So that's why he's highlighting. Well, I guess it doesn't confirm whether he's an attorney or a paralegal, but I guess for their analysis, yes, they would be. We're gonna treat all these people as creating privilege.
Yes.
Is that fair? Okay.
Hey Tom, it's Rachel.
Hey Rachel.
Yeah, I was going through the chat and I just wanted to, just for the sake of clarity, make sure that at this point he's not applying redaction. That's correct, it's adding further redaction, right?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay, because there was a mention before called another tag, so that's just making sure that you know, if that could be a different workflow or how we're doing it.
So there is a needs redaction. Responsive doc is approved.
Oh.
In other words, come out, shake hands with Trump, and then let the games begin. And so if they have to fight, I just know that they have to fight each other. But I think it's who's President Biden to remain presidential, but don't take anything off of Trump in the sense of if Trump keeps on talking when he shouldn't, then call him out on that. If he says things that are inaccurate, call him out on that. And I don't think it really helps Trump to be presidential because that's not how he was elected the first time, and that's not how he can be elected or appeal at this base this time around. It's the feisty, fighting, chaotic Donald Trump that tends to attract votes from his base.
It's going to be fascinating to watch. Thank you for your analysis, Barbara Perry, Professor Presidential Studies at the University of Virginia. So we're on Al Jazeera. Imran Khan's legal woes continue as the court in Pakistan has rejected an appeal by former Prime Minister for his release from prison. And Emmanuel Macron's political future is at stake in a snap French parliamentary election.
Alpha Foundation has delivered over $300 million worth of aid to more than 75 countries around the world. 100% of zakat and emergency donations spent on projects, and the insured beneficiaries are first. Over 300 of our leaders have entered Gaza through the Rafah crossing in recent months. Our motto is bless and be blessed, and we are turning your donations into direct delivery in the shortest possible time. Donate with confidence.
Unique perspectives.
One picture is not going to tell the entire 80 months of the genocide. However, it is bringing attention to Gaza. This is how Rafah looks like. Rafah looks like it's out.
Unheard voices. We've been seeing the exacerbation of the militarization of the police over the past 10 years. Connect with our community and tap into conversations you won't find elsewhere.
Both the Norwegian government and other companies are stealing indigenous land.
The stream on Al Jazeera. At least one miner has been killed by police in Kajiado County. The Israeli military has launched an operation east of Gaza City, ordering people to leave the Shigaya neighborhood. Northern Gaza, 3 Israeli airstrikes have hit the Jabalia refugee camp, killing at least 32 Palestinians. US President Joe Biden is heading to Atlanta, where he will go head-to-head with Donald Trump in the first debate of the 2024 presidential election campaign. Two leading candidates in the US presidential race last faced off in a run-up to the 2020 election. The US economy, foreign policy and immigration are likely to dominate the debate. Here's what some people are hoping to hear in tonight's head-to-head between Biden and Trump.
Yeah, sure. I watched the debate on Thursday, and I think it's, I don't know, we'll see. I think, like everyone, I'm nervous to see how these guys do. Me personally, I hope to hear someone have a concrete stance on how we are addressing the situation in Palestine. That is my biggest concern, personally, as a voter. I don't think that our country is going in the right direction in regards to that, and I would hope that our leadership is able to take a concrete stand one way or the other. It's making it a more difficult election than I think that it would be, whereas it's not in this.
I think
hoping that this person is someone who can represent our country and not take away from democracy as it is here in the United States.
The Supreme Court has ruled to temporarily allow abortions in Idaho for pregnant women facing medical emergencies. That reinstates the lower court's decision of the state for treatment and labor.
I'll touch this again.
President Joe Biden's
So you can see that. You can see that.
sued
172,000.
takes precedence
Okay.
over state law. Cybercrimes explains.
Now I'm still recording. I'm still recording. This is about 2 hours and 16 minutes now of recording. We'll try to wrap this around 2 hours and 20 minutes and then put it out. Oh, and let me show you this so you can see. You can see that 962 shares on the Nrde. You see that? You can see immediately as I touched it, you can see the stock drop to 0.87. Yesterday they took it to 0.866 and put in a bid to buy more at 0.86. They stopped. Now at 0.87. Waiting for this to go through, and then I will put in more to see what I can get more at 0.86.
Will get people to the polls to prevent more action against abortion. After all, it was under Trump that Supreme Court justices who appointed ended the constitutional right to abortion. Well, the polls don't quite show yet that this issue, abortion, reproductive rights, is quite offsetting Joe Biden's personal unfavorability yet. Al Jazeera,
To Bolivia now, where a senior army commander has been arrested after what the president was calling an attempted coup. General Juan Jose Zuniga ordered soldiers to storm the presidential palace in La Paz on Wednesday. Armed vehicles ran the entrance of the building and troops failed its hallways. Soldiers withdrew after just a few hours. General Zuniga had been fired a day earlier. Just before he was arrested, he accused the president of ordering the uprising. As they lied to Teresa Bo, she was in the capital La Paz. It's been a dramatic 24 hours or so. What is the latest from there? Well, the situation is much calmer now of what we saw happen on this plaza where I am right now, Plaza Malaysia, right in front of the presidential palace. It was taken over by dozens of members of the armed forces, heavily armed with armored vehicles, tanks, among other things. We saw through this door how a tank tried to push into the presidential palace while the president was still inside. There was a confrontation between General Zuniga and President Luis Arce, where apparently Luis Arce told him he needed to surrender to the constitutional order in this country. The general and these 10 others are currently detained about 2 blocks away in a police station of where I am right now. They're facing the possibility of 30 years in prison. Also, on Wednesday, protests, at least 12 people were injured during those demonstrations. But you just mentioned that Zuniga the president of trying to plot this attempted coup. He says that he asked him to take the tanks on the streets. I was just inside of the presidential palace talking to several ministers inside, and this is something that they completely deny. They say that there was chaos inside the palace, that this was unexpected, and that the president had to convince the general to surrender, as I said before, to constitutional order. There's lots of concern in Bolivia right now about the democracy in this country. I was coming down from the airport earlier today and I was able to see several roadblocks by people supporting the president who are extremely concerned about what has happened here. What does it tell us about the conflict that is going on within the government now? Well, there's a huge conflict between the ruling movement towards socialism party, that is, between President Luis Arce and former President Evo Morales. Evo Morales continues to be a very powerful man here in Bolivia. He's the president of the party. He's also Bolivia's first indigenous president, but that's something that people here respect a lot. However, we've been seeing lots of tension between them. Evo Morales was forced to flee the country back in 2019. There was an interim administration and then Luis Arce was sworn in. But as soon as that happened, Evo Morales started challenging the current administration with the policies
Can see that? As soon as I touched, let me touch it again, see? As soon as I touched, I turned around and started looking here. You can see the stock goes back up. Goes to 0.873. As soon as I turned around and started looking here, the stock goes to 0.873. So these criminals assigned people to monitor my computer, monitor through the videos, through that video that you're looking at, right, the computer right here. One of my clients that required has a monitoring mechanism in their computer. These criminals hacked into it through the spyware they installed on my modem, my network devices, and they're using that to see me and then manipulate this. And that's why I'm recording this. This video is now 2 hours and 21 minutes, and you can see for every time I turn around, or I touch, if I touch that computer, right, the phone right there, boom, they move the stock around. They move if I turn around from that computer to look this way, something happens. So as soon as I turned around to start to talk, and you can do it, you can go, because I had this video self-recorded. So if you can go back from now to 5 minutes, you will see that the stock was at 0.87. And as soon as I started opening my mouth and started talking, stock goes to 0.83. You can see, as I'm talking, you can see that they just dropped GNS to 0.273, matching it exactly to AHT at 0.873. You can see that, as I just actually matching the three stocks. You can see GNS, AHT, GNS at 0.273, AHT at 0.873, and then lost the ride Nrde at 1.63. You can see that. As soon as time now is 2:45 p.m. As soon as I started talking, this just occurred. And you know what? The 0.273 on GNS is the lowest the stock has been today. It's the lowest the stock has been today. You can do the chart and see it. And that lowest has to come as soon as I turned around. As soon as I turned around and started talking about AHT at 0.873.
On Sunday, the first round of a snap parliamentary vote. President Emmanuel Macron took a gamble calling the election who likes to be seen as a daring political disruptor and risk-taker. But if Macron wins, he'll have pulled off a coup that will make French history. But if he fails, he will be remembered as the president who propelled the far right into power. We'll talk about the reports from Macron's hometown of Amiens.
It was one of Emmanuel Macron's defining moments, unexpectedly wading into a heated protest against the closure of a whirlpool appliance factory in the northern town of Amiens during the 2017 presidential campaign. Few thought the former banker cared about workers. This trade union leader who was there says Macron listened to their grievances.
He promised us that no one would lose their jobs, that he would personally take care of our cases he was elected and not let us down. So we thought, okay, this is interesting. We were desperate and wanted to believe him.
Macron went on to be elected, but the factory closed. Jobs were lost, workers left in pity.
He was so disappointed, particularly because he's from here. He's from Amiens. We thought, we have a president in Amiens, so he'll surely look after us. How lucky. But in the end, he's a catastrophe.
The 2017
see, as soon as I moved off, time now is 2:49. As soon as I moved off and started working, GNS returns to 0.278, and AHT is dropped as to 0.87. You can see that. As soon as I finished talking and turned my face off, instantly, GNS, see, I came back. I'm back now. You can see AHT 0.871. You can see that. And you can actually see that they were matching it. You can see it was actually being matched with the SBUS at 0.87. They just dropped one in front of it. But otherwise, they were doing AHT. You can see the 7 just goes up to Nike. They were actually matching the AHT with the SBUX at 0.87. You can see that. You can see the numbers. Take a look at the numbers. The video is still recording. It's going to be a little long, but the video is recording.
And we've been given unique access to the challenges faced by both staff and patients. Maria has asked us to use her nickname. She has been referred for specialist treatment by doctors here, but had to endure an uphill battle to get it.
I've been waiting for 1 year. So we found I had a cold. They said we can refer you. And then I was waiting for 1 year. And then I had complications, I had bleeding and problems. I ringed every day. I'm upset, I'm saying to be seen as soon as possible.
She is just one of more than 7 million people in the UK waiting for a hospital appointment or further medical treatment. That guardian waiting list, now a key battleground for the upcoming UK election.
This is one of the busiest doctor's offices in the region, serving nearly 20,000 people. Representatives of the front line of UK's health system. But they say they're struggling, having to see more people than ever since the pandemic, and without the level of funding that they need. I'm sorry, I don't have any opinion on that.
That demand is evident as the calls keep flooding in.
It's just chaotic. We have over 200 to 250 calls, 3, 8 and 9, and we've got 20,000 patients here. So as you can imagine all in even just one morning, patients complain they don't have an appointment.
Doctors here warn that there's been a real-term decline in funding for general medical practice, and coupled with a burnt-out workforce, it all spells trouble for the future of the National Health Service in the NHS.
If we're having to deliver services for patients, a larger organisation, more complex patients, with a limited resource, it's very difficult. And we need to remember that there's only up to care standing that now I do say we're very, very proud position now. And I don't feel I like it.
A stark warning for whoever is next in charge of the nation's health. Mary Minich, Al Jazeera, Manchester, UK.
Al Jazeera. As I discussed, I'm now in Germany, where I am working to a very, very tight timetable. I have many people to see and things to do, and for that's going to have an inevitable effect on the amount of time I can devote to individual videos for this channel, though I will try to maintain a constant flow of videos throughout the time I'm in Germany with my family, which will be for about a week. So, if this video is shorter than some of my more recent ones, or some of you may heave a sigh of relief, others no doubt will be sorry. To anybody who is sorry, well, let me say my apologies, but events dictated so. Let's therefore, since to try and keep the time of this video relatively short, let's talk about what is happening
see that? Can see that? Can see every can see GNS 0.272. Can see now let me touch this. Actually, once I touch it, you can see the volume. The volume is still on AHT is still 180,000. You see that? Now that's what I just touched. And then the volume on GNS. The volume on GNS is how many? About 6 million shares. You can see that? And then there's no volume on the Nrde. You see that for yourself? Okay? You can see that? Time now, 2:56 p.m. 2:56 p.m. 2:56 p.m. Okay? Boss. Loading.
So, that's the situation in Volchans. Elsewhere, all across the front lines, the Russians continue their advances and they continue to grind the Ukrainians down. Ukrainian losses remain at the same high levels as I have discussed. I understand that in the micro district, the Ukrainians control just 7 buildings. Now, it's important to say that these are 7 high-rise buildings in the micro district west of the aqueduct in the Chasov Yar area. Fighting still continues for the micro district. It appears to be the most heavily fortified position in Chasov Yar. It looks as if it's likely to fall fairly soon, at which point, as I said, it looks as if the whole future of Ukrainian defences in the Chasov Yar area is bleak, and the Chasov Yar itself will shortly after fall. There are also reports going to the other towns where fighting is continuing, which is Avdiivka. Sorry, not Avdiivka, Krasnogorovka. That reports of a major Ukrainian withdrawal from Krasnogorovka might be true. The Russians seem to be clearing now fairly rapidly the remaining Ukrainian defense positions. There are now reports that within about a week, the Russians will be able to announce the full capture of Krasnogorovka. There have been reports like this before, but this time these latest reports are backed by photographic and film, which appears to show significant Russian advances in this town. Now, to repeat, the main battle, in my opinion, continues to be in the Avdiivka, Ocheretino area. The Russians continue their advances to the villages to the west of Ocheretino, places like Sokol, which the Ukrainians appear to be defending to an undue extent, given that the fortifications around Sokol already appear to have been captured by the Russians. But probably the Ukrainians understand that if they're driven out of Sokol and other villages to the west of Ocheretino, the Russian flanks will have been secured, enabling the Russians to advance northwards towards the main road from Pakrovsk to Chasov Yar, cutting the road, and that, of course, will create a major crisis for the Ukrainian defenders in Forex, who are under heavy pressure, and also, of course, the Ukrainian defenders in Chasov Yar and places like that. Now, Zelensky himself has been on the move, having just sacked General Sodol on the orders of the Azov Brigade and being only partly facetious. He's turned up at one of the towns which are under attack. I believe it was Volchans, so I've seen one report refer instead to Pakrovsk. Ukrainian soldiers by now must have become used to Zelensky turning up to a town which eventually falls attacks have been captured by the Russians. We then went to Chasiv Yar, and we hear that the Russians are now in control of the micro-district apartment 7 buildings, with the rest of Chasiv Yar likely to fall soon after. If he's gone to Volchansk, well, that will confirm to many in Ukraine that Volchansk also is going to fall. Across, for the moment, not under attack, but at some point, no doubt, it soon will be. So, overall, trajectory of the war continues very much along the lines that I have been discussing in these programs now for several months. Ever since Avdiivka fell in February, the Russians have broadened their offensive. They're pushing the Ukrainians right across the front lines. They have the initiative. They're able to attack wherever and whenever they choose. They caught the Ukrainians by surprise by launching an attack in Kharkiv region at the beginning of May, before the Ukrainians expected them. They then launched an attack in the Donetsk area, again, which was unexpected to the Ukrainians. Both of these attacks gained significant ground before the Ukrainians were able to rush reinforcements to hold the positions. The Ukrainian army, under intense and continued stress, the soldiers, the veteran soldiers, becoming fewer and fewer in number, becoming increasingly jaded and tired and angry, criticizing their command, and large numbers of reservists thrown into the battle without enough training, unable to hold back the Russians, in many cases refusing orders to conduct attacks, and in a few cases retreating when they are attacked. And we have reports about this recently from the Volchansk and Chasiv Yar areas. So, the war continues. Meanwhile, there has been considerable diplomatic contact between the United States and Russia. Now, as I discussed a couple of programs ago, in the aftermath of the attack on the beach in Crimea, the Russians called in the American ambassador and gave her a warning that Russia will respond and will respond firmly to that attack, and that there will be a Russian response, which will be a Russian response in effect against the United States itself. That the Russians will take action against the United States at a time and place of their own choosing. Now, the Russians have provided us with a brief report about this, provided with some further information. This comes from Sergei Ryabkov, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister. He said that the tragedy that occurred in Sebastopol will certainly not remain and does not remain without our response. The nature of this response is a matter that I'm not at all authorized to discuss. I think that the idea of certain permissible scenarios is also on the minds of many in the West. They should feel the extreme risks associated with such actions. And then he said that he said in response to a discussion about the Russians using tactical nuclear weapons, that the president, that's to say Putin, as the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, makes such fateful decisions. The scenarios in which this is permissible are described in detail and precisely in basic documents. Everything correlates with the current situation, which in effect tells us very little indeed. Almost nothing in effect about what the Russians are going to do, but the fact that they are indeed going to respond. Anyway, the indications are that this warning has made the United States nervous, because directly after the warning was given, the US Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, telephoned and spoke with his opposite number, Nrde. Now, the readouts that both the Americans and the Russians have provided are things that as being completely uninformative. They both spoke about the importance of retaining, preserving communications lines between these two powerful countries must be preserved, and Yakup had something to say about that. Also, he said channels of communication with Washington are not closed. Just the day before yesterday, a very important telephone conversation between Russian Defense Minister Belarus and his American counterpart took place. There are contacts at other levels and along other lines, along the lines of presidential administrations, in particular, along the lines of intelligence services, diplomatic agencies are in contact with each other on their own issues, and this happens on a regular basis. We should not find ourselves in a situation where we're working with a black box, where some impulses come from our side, inside, and the output is zero. That's why the channels I mentioned are important. That's why the function of ambassadors and embassies is important, and we will not abandon any of them, and we can treat the genre of diplomatic remarks however you like, but this is also an important element of the overall work, especially in the current crisis period. Now, the most important thing to take from those words is that Yakup tells us that the meeting, the conversation between Lloyd Austin and Belarus was very important. Now, some may think it is a coincidence that Lloyd Austin telephoned Belarus directly after the Russians gave a warning that they're going to take retaliatory action against the United States for the Crimean beach attack. I don't believe in such a coincidence. I am sure that the United States, very concerned to be receiving a warning at this time from Moscow, has took the initiative to call the Russian Defense Ministry to find out exactly what it was the Russians were intending to do, at least not exactly what the Russians were intending to do, to at least try to persuade the Russians that in fact the United States is not as responsible as the Russians claim it is for the Crimean beach attack, and to try to basically calm the situation down. And another indication that the situation, the Russians might be trying, the Americans might be trying to calm the situation down, is an incredibly aggressive, incredibly belligerent statement that was published by Zelensky's advisor, Mikhailo Podolyak. He said that there are no beaches, resort areas, or beach goers in Crimea, that the entire territory is under occupation, that everybody who is engaged in such activities is presumably some kind of occupier. In effect,
so what I've been trying to do was to try to get to log into Ally account. These criminals locked out my Allied account, and I tried to log into the other computer. It wasn't possible. I came over to this computer. I logged on. It went through. There, the computer was saying, check proxy firewall. As soon as I came over here, I tried to log on several times, and then I opened up another browser, and I logged in. It went through. As soon as I logged in, the one that I was trying to do, I was trying before on the first computer quickly cleared out. That's right, because I now went back to capture a snip of Ally website being blocked by these criminals from me logging in, as they brought down AHT and filled 150 shares. I had 350 shares at 0.86. They came down and filled 150 shares. So as I was trying to capture that, Ally won't let me until I logged in with another computer here, and then suddenly that other one cleared out. And you can see suddenly Suddenly, you see Nrde that was down all morning. That was I was touching this one. The Nrde that was down there all morning. You can see Nrde 1,385 shares. Remember, it was the criminal sold it down with 800 shares earlier, with 200 shares in the morning from 170 to 160, and it's been there all day. And suddenly now it just shows up at the price it did. Anyway, I think for now I should be done with that. So I have work to do.
Pretty much since the start of the war. The announcement that appeared in Bloomberg that the administration is going to do this formally simply gives an official gloss to what has always been the case. But it looks to me that this might be intended again as a kind of response to these Crimean
It shouldn't be connected, and if it is connected,
that it's intended to impress on the Ukrainians
be showing
as well as on the Russians.
the
The
security
Americans are indeed tightly in control of attacking missile launches. And that from now on, with American contractors already largely involved in controlling those missile strikes, the Pentagon itself will play a more active role, an even more active role in this than has been the case before. Anyway, who knows? But even as the United States announces that, there'll be further statements from the White House that the deployment of the U.S. ground troops, or indeed any U.S. troops, to Ukraine is categorically ruled out. Now, to be clear, all of these American assurances, which I suspect is what the Russians are getting, I doubt that they're going to cut much ice in Moscow. I think the Russians are going to be deeply unimpressed by them. By this point in the conflict, we've reached a stage where they no longer trust the Americans very much at all.
See here is the bid that I had at 300 share bid at 0.86. The criminals brought the stock down there and filled 150 of those at about 15 minutes ago at about 3:10, and so every effort I made to try to capture that was thwarted because they had manipulated my system, blocking me from logging into Ally, my account. I had to use another computer. I have several computers here. I have to use another computer to log into Ally. As soon as I logged into Ally, the first one that they blocked suddenly cleared off.
Some of those contractors, those American contractors in Ukraine itself. Anyway, let's press on and discuss some of the other political news. The German CDU, or what more precise, its leader, Friedrich Merz, on Sunday gave an interview in which he seemed to be moderating significantly his rhetoric about Russia. Up to recently, he was posed as the hardest of hardliners in Germany. He's been endlessly demanding that more and more advanced weapons be supplied by Germany to Ukraine, and that Germany go all out to support Ukraine in the war. I think he's realised after the European Parliament elections that this is not a popular line to take in Germany, where, by the way, I presently am, and that he's realising that he will pay an electoral price if he continues with this hard line. So for that reason, I think he might be in the process of moderating his language, at least a little. Sarah Wagener, the political leader of the new party on the left, did, I thought, pretty well in the European Parliament elections for a party that has only just formed. She has spoken more realistically. She has said that if there is going to be a negotiated settlement in Ukraine, which of course she strongly endorses, then
what if better was easier than you ever thought possible? something different and actually feel good about doing it? What if all you had to do was change one little thing? Rise Mushroom Coffee's delicious blend of 6 functional mushrooms helps protect your gut, provide all-day energy, and boost immunity for a balanced body and mind. A better routine starts here.
It must be understood that it cannot be on the existing line of contract. She's moving towards, in other words, acknowledging that the Russian demand that the Ukrainians pull out of the 4 regions is something that has to be conceded if a negotiation is to be successful. Merz is not the only European politician who's now talking in a more moderate way. Emmanuel Macron in France, perhaps in the last weeks of his presidency, the last few opinion polls appear to show the Rassemblement National, Marine Le Pen's party, surging. The political group that's second is the United Left, the so-called Popular Front, whose de facto leader seems to be Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Macron's own party is far behind, only less than 20% of the vote. Anyway, it could be that Macron realises that the game is up with the parliamentary elections, and I still think that there's a better than even chance that he will resign if his party does particularly badly in those elections. Anyway, Macron is now also coming out making statements that there will not be French troops sent to Ukraine anytime soon. He seems very vague on the date, but his enthusiasm for that project seems to be fading. And he is also saying that he's prepared to enter into talks with President Putin, though of course he doesn't explain how these talks are going to be conducted or in what form or anything like that. But again, the language seems to be slightly more conciliatory. I wonder whether recent events in Ukraine, the failure of the Ukrainians to mount an counter-offensive in Kharkiv region, the fact that up to now...
Okay, this thing has been recording 3:55 now, 3:30. I think I'm going to stop it now. We've gone through the same part. I think it's about time to stop it. 3:56, almost 3 hours of recording. Thank you. Thank you. You can see the time. I will post this as it is tomorrow. You can see Starbucks marched 7884, marching the 64 that is on AHC. You can see that clearly.
International Economic Forum. He participated in the plenary session alongside President Putin of Russia, and he's talking about enhancing economic links with Russia, and of course China, which is the biggest importer of Libya and which has the biggest electric vehicle industry by far in the world. So, if you think all of these events are unconnected to the fact that there was a coup attempt just now in Bolivia, well, as I like to say, if you really believe that there's no connection between all of those events and the coup attempt, well, I have a rich... Anyway, suffice to say, the coup failed, and this will reinforce, despite current economic problems, Bolivia's existing course. Now, as to BRICS membership, Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, has said that for the moment, a decision has been made against amongst the existing BRICS countries that membership has now expanded significantly. It's time to put that on pause.
So we started
there will be a
3:30.
mechanism for countries that wish to join BRICS to become associate members. will certainly and as the bricks themselves, more than likely, and will shape
130.
the entry of quantum into the bricks will gradually take place. Now, the rest of the research is going to give more information about the new global payment system that they're working towards, and importantly, it looks as if India is fully on board. Prime Minister Modi is due to arrive in Russia on the 8th of July. Significantly, he will be meeting President Putin at exactly the same time as the NATO summit meeting is taking place, which President Zelensky is due to attend, and at which apparently he's going to be told that there will be no further steps made towards admitting Ukraine into NATO. But anyway, we can tell more about the new system, the new global payments system. And from what I can see, it is going to centre very heavily around digital currencies. A digital RMB, yuan, Chinese currency, a digital ruble, a digital rupee, possibly, certainly a digital rial, which is Iran's currency. Now, I know many people have very strong feelings about digital currencies. To some extent, I share them, by the way. But perhaps it's important to highlight the fact that if you want to circumvent US sanctions, the digital currency,
you can see the 7-8, the Starbucks has, see the Starbucks.
The fact that blockchain technology that will underpin.
So in the past I had assumed that these criminals were monitoring me through that other through the other computer ring. But actually, once you start running that app, they activate the camera in that app, and they're able to see me through that camera. That's why once you get another camera and you try to take a picture, automatically the picture is blurred. They blur the picture. See that? So we'll pause the video now, wait for them, make sure we'll capture the information for the end of the day. It's now 3 hours, and then we'll continue. Can see that? You can see the stocks. You can see the time. 3:47 p.m. 3:47 p.m. My battery is about to die, and I just decided to do that. See this? I'm just taking this, and this is the response I made to SEC right now. Can see that? You just see that? Response just got in. As soon as I did that response, you can see that they dropped GNS 0.273 to match Nrde at 1.63. You can see that AHT has been exactly as the same 0.864. They dropped it, went and filled up the bid I had at 0.86. I had 300 share bid. They filled 150 of it. 150 is still there, and then this is where we are. Thank you. I'm going to try to update this in 10 minutes to capture the end of the day data.
Take a look at this report. It talks about the Hezbollah's arsenal. Apparently, they have over 150,000 rockets and missiles, and they are not afraid to use them. Since the war in Gaza began, they have been firing rockets into Israel. This is to show their support for Hamas. Since last year, they have launched 5,000 rockets, anti-tank missiles, and explosive drones at Israel. If Israel launches an attack, the Hezbollah could easily scale up these operations. Now, the US is worried about that scenario. They assess Hezbollah can fire 3,000 missiles a day. This could overwhelm Israel's Iron Dome. That's the Israeli air defense system, and the Hezbollah has a large number of fighters too.
Can see that?
At least 100,000, according to one estimate. If Israel attacks, these numbers could grow. Already, Iran's
3:59 is the time. See that?
They are willing to come to
3:59.
and fight on behalf of Hezbollah. So fighting a war in Lebanon won't be the same as Gaza. Israel will face
3:59 is the time.
resistance, and it will be on a larger scale. Both sides need to exercise caution. An escalation is the last thing anyone needs right now.
I see that. Time now is 4. I see that. Time now is 4. See how they dropped it to 0.268.
Now, India
I
and
see that.
Russia are signing a new military pact. It has been delayed for many
Can see that?
years now, but last week, Russia
The GNS dropped to 0.268. Now this is the AHT. Let's see. You can see that from the time I logged in the morning. You can see how it went down, and you can see 217,000 shares. 217,000 shares. You can see that where it closed. 217,000 shares, and then you can see the GNS, the same thing. You can see the same pattern, exactly the same thing. You can see that went down, went down, went down. You can see that to exactly where it closed. Then you can see the Nrde, no trading going on. You can see that. Okay, thank you.